Welcome all to my channel. Today we are going to see on the topic of British non-fiction on Going a Journey, written by William Hazlitt. One of the pleasantest things in the world is going a journey, but I like to do it myself. I can enjoy society in a room, but out of doors. Nature is company for me. I am then never less alone than when alone. The field, his study, nature was his book. I cannot see the bit of walking and talking at the same time. When I am in the country, I wish to vegetate like the country. I am not for criticizing hedgerows and black cattle. I go out of town in order to forget the town and all that is in it. There are those who for this purpose go to watering places and carry the metropolis with them. I like more elbow room and favor encumbrances. I like solitude when I give up myself up to it. For the sake of solitude, nor do I ask for a friend in my retreat, whom I may whisper, solitude is sweet. It's a line given from the text. The soul of a journey is liberty, perfect liberty to think, feel, do just as one pleases. We go a journey chiefly to be free of all impediments and of all inconveniences, to leave ourselves behind, much more to get rid of others. It is because I want a little breathing space to muse on indifferent matters where contemplations occurs. And the line from the text is, may plume her feathers and let grow her wings, that in the various bustle of resort were all too ruffled and sometimes impaired. I absent myself from the town for a while, without feeling at a loss the moment I am left by myself. Instead of a friend in a post chaise or in a tilbury to exchange good things with and vary the same staple topics over again. For once, let me have a truce with impertinence. Give me the clear blue sky over my head and the green turf beneath my feet, a winding road before me, and a 3 hours march to dinner and then towards the thinking. It is hard if I cannot start some game on these long hurts. I laugh, I run, I leap, I sing for joy. From the point of the yonder rolling cloud, I plunge into my past being and reveal there, as the sunburst Indian plunges headlong into the wave that wafts him to his native shore. Then long forgotten things like sunken rock and sumless treasuries burst upon my eager sight, and I begin to feel, think, and be myself again. Instead of an awkward silence broken by attempts at wit or dull commonplaces, mine is that undisturbed silence of the heart which alone is perfect eloquence. No one likes puns, alliterations, antithesis, argument, and analysis better than I do, but I sometimes had rather be without them. Leave, oh, leave me to my repose. I have just now other businesses in the in hand, which would seem idle to you, but is with me very stuff of the conscience. Is not this wild rose sweet without a comment? Does not this daisy leap to my heart set in its coats of emerald? Yet, if I were to explain to you the circumstance that I was so endeared it to me, you would only smile. Had I not better than keep it to myself and let it serve me abroad over from here to yonder crazy point, and from then onward to the far distant horizon? I should be but bad company all that way, and therefore prefer being alone. I have heard it said that you may, when the moody fit comes on, walk or ride on by yourself and indulge your reveries. But this looks like a breach of manners and neglect of others, and you're thinking all the time that you ought to rejoin your party. Out upon such half-faced fellowship, say, I like to be either entirely to myself or entirely at the disposal of others, to talk or to be silent, to walk or sit still, to be as sociable or solitary. I was pleased with an observation of Mr. Corbett's that he says that he thought it was a bad French custom to drink our wine without meals, and that an Englishman ought to do only one thing at a time. So I cannot talk and think or indulge in melancholy musing and lively conversation by fits and starts. Let me have a companion of my way, says Sterne, were it but to remark how the shadows lengthen as the sun declines. It is beautifully said, but in my opinion, this continual comparing of notes interferes with the involuntary impressions of things upon the mind and hurts the sentiment. If you only hint what you feel in a kind of dumb show, it is insipid. If you have to explain it, it is making a toil of a pleasure. You cannot read the book of nature without being perpetually but to the put to the trouble of translating it for the benefit of the other peoples. I am for the synthetical method on a journey in preference to the analytical. I am content to lay in a stock of ideas then and to examine and anatomize them afterwards. I want to see my vague notions float like the down of the thistle before the breeze, and not to have them entangled in the briars and thorns of controversy. For once, I like to have it all my own way, and that is impossible unless you are alone, or in such company as I do not covet. I have no objection to argue a point with anyone for 20 miles of measured road, but not for pleasure. If you remark the scent of a bean field crossing the road, perhaps your fellow traveller has no smell. If you point to a distant object, perhaps he is short sighted and has to take out his glass to look at it. There is a feeling in the a tone and the color of a cloud which hits your fancy, but the effect of which you are unable to account for. There is then no sympathy, but an uneasy carving after it, and a dissatisfaction which pursues you on the way, and in the end probably produces ill humour. Now I ever quarrel with myself and take all my own conclusions for granted till I find it necessary to defend them against objections. It is not merely that you make not to be an account on the objects and circumstances that present themselves before you. These may recall a number of objects and lead to associations too delicate and refined to be possibly communicated to others. Yet these I love to cherish and sometimes still fondly clutch them, when I can escape from the throng to do so. To give a weight to our feelings before company seems extravagance or affections, and on the other hand, to have to unravel this mystery of our being at every turn, and to make others take an equal interest in it. Otherwise, the end is not answered to be answered, and is a task to which few are competent. We must give it an understanding but not tongue. My old friend, it means the old friend word refers to S.T. Coleridge, it means Samuel Taylor Coleridge. However, could do both. He could go on in the most delightful explanatory way over hill and dale on summer's day, and convert a landscape into a didactic poem or a pindaric ode. He talked far above singing, if I could so clothe my ideas in sounding and flowing words. I might perhaps wish to have someone with me to admire the smelling theme, or I could be more content, where it is possible for me still to hear his echoing voice in the woods of Alfoxden. They had that fine madness in them which our first poets had, and if they could have been caught by some or instrument, would have breathed some strains as the following. Here the words are: here be woods as green as any, air likewise as fresh and sweet, as then smooth cypress plays on the fleet face of the curled streams, which flowers as many as the young spring gives, and as choice as any. Here be all new delights, cool streams and wells, arbors overgrown with woodbine, cows and dells. Choose where thou wilt, while I sit by and sing. rather rushes to make many a ring for their long fingers. Tell the tales of love, how the pale Phoebe, hunting in a grove, first saw the boy Endymion, from whose eyes she took eternal fire that never dies. How she conveyed him softly in a sleep, his temples bound with poppy to the steep heat of old Latmos, where she stoops each night, gilding the mountain with her brother's light to kiss her sweetest. It was the poem of the Fletcher's faithful shepherdess. And that's the end of the gist of the. This was the gist of the non-fiction part on going to a journey. Thank you for watching my video.